This is a new sort of video for development techniques. So in the last video, we looked at augmentation as an idea where you stretch rhythms. In this video, we're going to look at two techniques. The first being diminution, which is the opposite, which is where, to diminish something, diminution, diminish, means to make something smaller. So we're going to make the rhythms sort of smaller. And also, we're going to look at musical sequences, and these two things work really nicely together. So we've got this same idea that we've been working on here, so I'll just play it for you to remind you. So what I'm going to take is, when you do these kind of techniques, take like something really interesting. So to start with, we've been playing around with this idea at the beginning quite a lot, so we're not going to do that. We're going to pick another idea. And I quite like, from here, this thing. Right, so I'm going to just trim it up. So there we go. And let's just bring it over here. So we can look at it. So we are going to use diminution on this idea. So we have to make the rhythms shorter this time. So I'm going to half all the rhythms. And we'll see what it sounds like when we might want to play with it. I'm just going to get everything nicely quantized. There we go. This one I'm going to pull back over here. So the rhythm is simpler now to deal with. Right, so let's try and half the rhythms and see what we end up with. Let's put that there. So we're going to half this one. Let's half this one. Let's half this one. Then I need to put it all back so it's kind of like in order. So this is where, like, if you're doing this and it's got rests in it, gaps, you've got to also include those. And think about like halving the length of the gap but then including it. So we've got this now. Right, so I'm going to actually make it even shorter, this one. And, same thing as the last video. We're aiming to keep like the melodic and sort of shape and pitch integrity of it, but the idea is we're just making all the rhythms shorter. But as long as the shape's the same and the pitches are the same, then we're all good, really. Let's just try it, just mess around with it so we get a good groove on it, really. Let's try it even there. Let's try that. I like that, that's good. Right, that's going to work. So I've got this little idea. So that came from, if you look at transposition we did in a previous session of it, this sort of idea, yeah, really long note, da-da-da. And then here we've got it here, kind of longer note, da-da-da. Right, so we've got the same kind of a shape and pitches, but the rhythms were much shorter. And then what you tend to do when you do diminution like this is turn it into a bit of a riff. So I'm going to copy this. Let's stick this over here. And I'll just see if I want it to repeat there. Well, we could try it, or we could try it here. Like that, actually. I'll lengthen this one out. Let's listen to that. That's nice. Let's copy that. Right, so we've now got this. Yeah, so it's a nice new idea, but it's not really new, it's developed. How this also works really nicely is I'm going to copy this over here with the drums into the bass track, and let's chuck it down a couple of octaves probably. So let's put it down. Let's go down more. Does it sound like down there? That sounds alright. What we've got now. So you might be struggling to hear that with the way the sound's working on the video, but that now works brilliantly. It's a new bass idea. Now the thing is, again, like the previous video, the audience are probably not going to recognize it, but they're probably going to think, oh, I kind of have heard something like that before in this piece of music, but I'm not sure what. They will have some sort of subconscious connection to it, but they'll probably be going, oh, I don't know, but it'll make it really memorable because they've already heard it. Yeah, so that is diminution. So you take an idea and you squash all the rhythms and make it like a faster idea. You can also couple this really nicely with musical sequences. So for a musical sequence, what we're going to do basically is do the very first development idea of transposing but staying in the key. So the key of this is D Dorian, this piece. We've already worked that out. I'm going to take this one. Let's do it every two. We don't want to do it too often. So I'm going to find the D, and let's go up to an E, the next note in the scale. And just check it's all the white notes, so we're all good. Now I'm going to copy it over here. And then go up to an F. And we've got like loads of notes that are not the white notes basically for D Dorian. So let's press Q and it fixes that. And then let's take these Fs and put them up. G's the next note in this key. We're all good because it's all the white notes there. Let's just let's keep going. I would probably stop there if I was actually writing a real piece of music, but let's see how far we can take the idea. So let's go up to A, and again, lots of non-white notes. So let's press Q, bring it into the key, do it again, up to B, we're good, and let's do two more, and then we'll be back to D. So we've done the entire scale, basically. So see, again, we've got like E flat there and B flat, so let's press Q to put it into the key, and so let's go to D. And maybe let's make that one drop down the octave. There we go. So I'm going to just copy this into the lead part as well, just in case the sound's not picking up the bass very well, just so we can kind of hear it, right? So remember, this idea originally came from, if we find like a bit of melody, it kind of came from this bit of the idea, yeah? This kind of, yeah, that melodic idea. We squashed the rhythms to create this much shorter, faster version of that, just that as a cell, da, 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 da. And then we repeated it as a riff, right? That's diminution, playing around with diminution. It's great to stick that in the bass as a bass line. And then we've added in musical sequences because this idea constantly keeps getting higher now, so it keeps going up. You can see the main notes, yeah, every two go up the scale. So we'll have a listen to what it sounds like. Yeah, so, and you know, I wouldn't go all the way up the scale like that. It's a little bit naff, but I was just kind of showing you what you can do. I would probably have only gone up the first few on the scale, like. And then I would probably have stopped there and maybe just changed some of these notes around. And that's the thing with these rules. They're not like completely hard and fast rules. I don't like that note, the B, so I might change it and just shift it up to the C and try that, or, you know, just try some different things out with it. But that's the idea, basically. So diminution, squash the rhythms, maybe turn it into a riff, stick it in the bass, you know, put it down a couple of octaves. That'll work really nicely. Sequences are where you take an idea that's quite short maybe, and then just repeat it like going up or going down. But in our kind of types of music that we tend to work in, it tends to work best if you're in the, you know, if you're not changing key, you just selected these notes and dragged them in the piano roll and left them, then you'd be changing key, and that's quite difficult to deal with the harmony, and isn't used a lot in like electronic or rock and pop to do that much anyway. Whereas if you're using the scale quantize to keep everything in the original key, then it will kind of sound really good for you, I think. So yeah, try those out.